Oh my gosh. We are live. I feel like, yes, hair. Okay. Let me get my notes up. Live on Instagram and on Facebook. Let me get comfortable. And I'm always drinking a green juice during my lives. I guess that's just how it works. Okay. Instead of a ticker, I'm actually going to do this. Save. And then there we go. Okay. Today's topic, when it comes to the cycle of dysfunctional relationships, are you wanting to stop that? And I have a solution for you. What up, Instagram? What up, Facebook? Okay. Let me type the topic here on Instagram as well. Okay. So when it comes to the cycle of dysfunctional relationships, let's see, when it comes to, can you hear me on Facebook? I just want to make sure you can hear me. Can you hear me on Instagram? When it comes to the cycle of, that's what I read, of dysfunctional relationships, are you wanting to stop that? To stop that. I may have a solution for you. We're going to get into it. We're just starting. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're just starting. Pinning this to. Okay. All right. And then we're going to do this. Oh, we're not going to do that. Okay, there we go. Okay. What up, Melody? Okay. So today, this is what we're going to talk about. And today's topic is for the woman who wants better when it comes to setting boundaries with men, knowing yourself, understanding your worth, and you want a clearer understanding, a clearer understanding of what makes a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy. Whoever had that conversation with you? Had your parents ever sit you down and talk about, okay, so this is healthy hard versus abusive, dysfunctional? Miracle, good afternoon, darling. Good afternoon. Has anybody ever sat you down and had that conversation with you? I am willing to bet I can make a good argument that nobody did. And listen, no judgment. Nobody did that with me as well. I didn't even know the word narcissism or narcissist was a word until 2017. Okay. So today's topic is for that woman who wants to hear about healthy versus unhealthy. Also, you feel like, man, I have it together in my career, my finances, and I can take care of myself. But somehow I keep getting into this cycle of dysfunction with men. Every time I get into a relationship, I'm left feeling empty. And now you're left feeling like, what is it about myself that I keep attracting dysfunctional relationships, these types of men? What is it about myself and how do I solve that problem? This conversation today, in the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes I talk too much, so maybe 50 minutes. I do got a meeting at 1:30, so I know I got to be done before an hour. So that is what the conversation is going to be about today. It's for you if that resonated with you, okay? So when it comes to the cycle of dysfunctional relationships, are you wanting to stop that? Because I may have a solution for you, okay? So if you're new to me, you're new to my page, hold on, Instagram. I feel like it's so dark over here. On Instagram, can you see me? Okay. On Instagram, can you see me? Okay. So my name is Rika. If you're new to my page, you've never seen me talk before, that is my name, Rika, the name my dad gave me. I'm the founder of Single You, the podcast, and I'm the creator of Single You Academy. So what do I do as the single girls life coach? I help single professional women, usually in their 30s and 40s, stop the cycle of dysfunctional relationships with men. Maybe it's one guy, or you're meeting Tom, Dick, and Harry, and you're having these same dysfunctional relationships with different guys. Who are my clients? Well, women who feel like they spend so much time and effort and money pouring into men. And you feel like you don't ever get that same type of dynamic in return. The men are not pouring into you. They're just taking, taking, taking. And you are left wondering, what is it about myself that I keep attracting these types of relationships? Like, what am I doing wrong? And how do I solve that? Because I don't want to stay, you watching, you're saying to yourself, I don't want to stay in this toxic, dysfunctional relationship cycle. I want out and I want to stop that cycle. So what I want to do is I'm going to actually show you some scenarios to see if I can pin where you are. I want to see if you can relate to this, because if you can, you are probably one of my clients and I would love to work with you. Okay. And we'll talk about that at the end. But first things first. Okay. And let me take away the banner so you can actually see the full screen. All right. So when it comes to the cycle of dysfunctional relationships, okay, you're here again, wondering, why am I still in this cycle? Why am I here? Why do I keep attracting men that really just take from me? I give, give, give. I give him money. I give him time. And then you're left feeling empty. So that's where you are right now when it comes to this lane of being in a cycle of dysfunctional relationships. And of course, that leaves you feeling empty. You're sad. You're wondering what's wrong with myself, that I would continue to allow a man to treat me as such, to leave me feeling empty. And you want to be here. You want to be the woman who is, you know what, I'm going to live a successful single life. And when God decides to provide me a husband, great. But I'm no longer going to tap dance. I'm no longer going to try to fit a square peg in a round hole. I want to be happily single, living my successful single life. And if he comes, he comes. And if he doesn't, guess what? I'm worthy regardless of my relationship status. That's the mindset you want, right? If you're here, if you're watching on my platform, if you're listening on my podcast, that's the mindset you want because you're here. There's something that I said to you that attracted you to me. Okay? All right, let's move on. So here is where you are. Remember, I said this is where you are right now. You are wondering, why do I spend so much time, effort, and money pouring into a man and he does nothing but take from me? So here's an example, and I want to see if this resonates with you. This is how you feel in your relationships now. Okay? It's been one-sided 85% of the time. Through his actions, he has shown inconsistency, betrayal, cheating, lying, and many other things. The other 15% of the time, he is loving and present in our relationship. That's how you feel in your relationship now, or the relationship when I speak of a guy, the guy you're thinking of, the one that's in that revolving door, right? If I could talk, the one that's in that revolving door. Because raise your hand, how many times have you written off a guy? You're like, man, F guys, I ain't talking to him no more. And you let Tommy back in, or Dustin, whatever his name is. You wrote him off because he's treated me like this 85% of the time. But you let him back in because of that 15% of the time. Does that resonate with you? Am I tracking? Okay, just gonna take a drink and move on. All right, let's see if you can relate to this one. Okay, you can say this about the relationship or the relationships that you've been in. Does this resonate with you? He was a narcissist. I kept giving him money when I shouldn't have, and I let him call me a bunch of names. I let him disrespect me over and over again, even though I was pouring into him, giving him money, sex, time, whatever. And he was calling you everything under the sun but a child of God. And you let him back in. Does that resonate with you? Or how about this? Can you say, does this resonate with you in the relationships that you've had in the past, or that one guy you can't seem to cut off? I found myself dealing with issues that made me become less than my best self. I was dealing or fighting the same, like dealing with or fighting the same problems with the same man or with different men. I found myself dealing with issues that made me become less than my best self. Can you resonate with that? Does that resonate with you? Okay. And I'm going to tell you how to break out of this cycle. We're going to get to that by the end of this presentation today. So if you found yourself dealing with issues with men that made you feel less than your best self, you're in the right place. How about this in relationships? I was identifying issues, but I kept quiet about it because I didn't want to get into an argument or become disappointed. There was a lot of passive aggressive arguments with little to no communication. Honestly, I was in this type of relationship a few times without healing from the past ones. Does that resonate with you? Can you say you've been in a situation like that before? Okay. Because if you say yes, you're in the right place. Because this is what you're experiencing as you're out here in this dating world, trying to date these men, trying to date somebody's son, and you're in this cycle of dysfunction. Here's another one. These relationships have been unhealthy for me because I can't seem to, oh gosh, I'm not going to be able to say this word. Why did I write this word? I can't even say it. I can't even figure out what's real from what's a lie. I do not trust men farther than my sight, and it's very exhausting. So you're like scared to date because you're like, I can't tell if this guy is like really telling me the truth or if he's a liar. Do you feel like that when you're out here dating in these streets? Is that how you feel? Like, I'm scared to date. And you would rather know sooner rather than later if this guy is for you or not, if this guy is lying or not. Okay? Or how about this? I don't know my worth. I think there is a part of me that thinks I deserve this or that I can't do any better. How about that? So when you're in this cycle of dysfunction, there's a part of you who's like, well, this is just, I can't do any better than this. Or you don't even know, like you don't even think that there are better men out there because of what you've seen your whole life, what you grew up with, what you saw your mom go through. And then it tracks for you what you've been through. And you're like, there's not even, this is it. So if I'm going to date, unfortunately, I'm going to be in this cycle of dysfunctional relationships. Are you thinking that way? And I promise you, I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going to call you higher, and I'm going to tell you how you can get out of this mindset. Because I want you to know your worth so that you stop tying your worth and identity to men. I want you to know your worth so that you understand, listen, I can do better than this. This ain't God's best for me. How about this? Does this resonate with you? My heart is absolutely broken because I keep giving into toxic relationships just to feel an ounce of what I believe to be true love. So you're in these relationships with men because you think that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to date. And, you know, as women, society, Christianity, maybe even somebody told you verbally, the goal in life is to get married and have kids. So you're trying, you're reaching, you're doing all of these things to get that goal. And let me be the one to tell you that's not the goal of life, honey. The goal of life is to be as happy and as healthy as possible. I want you to be able to design the life you actually want, instead of living something that somebody told you you had to do because you're a woman. And to be a good Christian means get your Boaz. And I'm not against marriage, not against dating. I'm against it doing it because you think you have to, or I'm against you doing the things you think you have to do to keep a man. That's what I'm against. I just want you happy. I want you dating in a space where you're like, I am happily single. And I'm not going to accept anything above the standard that I want. Anything below it, we're not dating. Okay. All right. Does this resonate with you in your relationships? Because remember, today we're talking about this cycle of dysfunctional relationships. And I know that you're wanting to stop that. So when you're in this cycle, do you feel this way? Does this resonate with you? I was doing way more than the lion's share of everything. The cooking, the cleaning, caring for the kids, paying the bills, etc. And he didn't want to spend time with me. But then he would get mad when I went out with my friends. Have you been in this kind of relationship? Does this resonate with you? Hmm? Because if it does, again, I know you want to stop it. So we're going to talk about how you stop this cycle and stop feeling empty every time you date somebody or every time you're dealing with this same guy. You always come up feeling empty. And I know you're wondering, why is that? Why does this keep happening to me? Okay. So that's what you're feeling. And I know you want a healthy relationship. I know you know what you want. You just don't know how to get it. But here is what you've tried to get a healthy relationship. Here is what you tried. So like I said, you know what you want, because if I were to ask you, do you desire a dysfunctional relationship or a healthy one? Of course you would say a healthy one. You just don't know how to get it, do you? There's a disconnect between, okay, well, he's treating me like trash. I know I should leave, but I don't leave. So I'm going to try to make this relationship healthy. But then it's that cycle and you come up empty every time. So here's what you've tried to stop this cycle. Nothing. You know what you want. You know what you don't want. But other than that, trusting men, you haven't changed any behaviors. Other than not trusting men, excuse me, I can't read my own writing or my own presentation. You really haven't tried anything. You know what you want or you know what you don't want. But other than not trusting men, you haven't changed any of your behaviors. So you're walking around like, well, I don't trust men, but you're still dating, still sleeping with them, still giving your all, even though you don't trust them. So you're not changing your behaviors to actually get the thing that you want. Because it is in your behaviors, it is in your boundaries that you show yourself you love yourself, and your behaviors show you who you actually are. Not the woman you want to be. Your behaviors show you the woman you actually are. So here's number 2. You've tried good intentions because, again, you know what you want. So you're like, I'm going to go into this. Good intentions. I ain't going to sleep with him on the first day, and I ain't going to do this. You've tried to slow down the dating process. You maybe even expressed your feelings to these men about what you wanted, and he was on board, or it seemed like it, and it still ended up being a dysfunctional relationship. And when you look back, you know there were red flags you passed up. This is what you've been trying to stop the cycle of dysfunctional relationships. And it's not working. It's not working. Number 3, to stop the cycle of dysfunctional relationships, you've also tried advice from friends, maybe family, but although they mean well, it still didn't help you stop the cycle. You're still messing with Tommy, David, Jonathan, and the relationships are the same. They may have even told you you're too picky. So unfortunately, you end up settling. So yeah, you broke it off with Dustin, but you felt bad because you felt like you were being too picky. So you settled with Jonathan. And you take advice from them because they're your friends and they mean well, but they may also be in a relationship you do not want. Her relationship is dysfunctional. Your love life is dysfunctional, and y'all giving each other advice. How are you going to break the dysfunction? Because when you're in that circle, it's hard to believe that you can actually achieve the type of relationship you want, because it's hard to become what you don't see. So if you didn't see it with your parents, and all your friends are going through the same mess you're going through, you're like, well, this is just relationships. This is dating. I'm here to help you change that mindset because that's not true. You know why it's not true? Because you haven't met every man on this planet. So you can't speak in absolutes like that. Well, all men are like this, and this is just dating and relationships are hard. Okay. How well has that mindset been working out for you? You've also tried, okay, and if you're just tuning in, this is how you've tried to stop the cycle of dysfunctional relationships: willpower. So you didn't sleep with him on the first date, but in the end, you still got played. And if you look back, there were red flags you passed up. And you pass them up thinking, not even thinking about them, or you do think about them and you think, well, I can change that. I can change him because I'm this good woman, so I'll change him. I'll help him become who I need him to be. This is why you're in a cycle of dysfunction. It's your mindset. Okay? To start dysfunctional relationships, you will trust that he will change because, he's apologized and said he'd be different and he seems sincere. So, of course, I'll give him a second. Everybody deserves a second chance. And it still ended up as dysfunctional again and again and again and again. Every time you let him back in. Or maybe it's a different guy, but it's the same kind of guy, the same type of man. And you keep letting him back in because he says he'll change and he says he'll be this and he does. But again, remember I told you earlier, you are your behavior. So you're trusting because of his words when his actions are showing you he don't have that capacity. And the best apology is changed behavior. That's it. Here is where you want to be. Here's where you want to be. You don't want to be this girl in dysfunctional relationships time and time again in this revolving door. Here is where you actually want to be. Being more confident and loving who you are. That high of loving yourself. Here's what a client said to me. She said, I remember getting in the car when you're like in love with the guy and you're just like, oh my God, you're on this high, the butterflies, your vagina's telling you he's the one. What up, girl? Okay. But now I'm finally feeling that for myself. And this is crazy. So I'm just like, oh, I could do that some more. Let's keep going because of this, Rika. Single You Academy. Seriously, this is really cool. I love it. She's feeling that for herself. She's saying that that high that you have for dudes, the butterfly. Oh my God, I love him so much. He's so great. She now has that high for herself because of the work that I did with her in Single You Academy. Taking her from being in a cycle of dysfunctional relationships to stopping that cycle of dysfunctional relationships. Here's another client testimonial. She said, I wanted to be loved and I didn't know how. Single You Academy helped me figure out how to deal with my issues, how to set boundaries, and how to raise my standards and not settle for anything less than that. Now I'm happy just raising my son. I needed help and Rika was there. Yeah, this is where you want to be. Not in this cycle of dysfunction where he keeps treating you like trash and you keep coming up feeling empty. You feel like you spend so much time, effort, and money pouring into men and you still come up empty because you want to be loved and you don't know how to get what you want. Here's another testimonial from a client of mine. In the little time I've been here, and here is inside of Single You Academy, she says, I feel so supported in my single journey. I'm embracing my singleness with confidence, embracing my pain and growing through it, embracing my budget and goals. Rika really allowed me to confront the traditional thoughts of our society around relationships and embrace me, the real me, that's not attached to a man or a ring. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. Not attached to a man or a ring, but you're not. The woman you are today is attached and you're in this cycle, spending so much time, effort, and money into men only to come up feeling empty every time. Every time you let Tommy back in, he never changes, even though he said he will. I would argue you would rather be here, embracing the real you, being happily single. I'll give you one more. This is a client of mine. She says, I'm becoming self-aware. That's my biggest thing because I just cannot believe all of the light bulbs and things that are making sense. And I'm like, why hasn't that made sense before now? Before Single You Academy, why hasn't that made sense? So for me, just becoming self-aware is probably by far the biggest thing for me. Because how many of you can say that you are actually self-aware? I think you are, right? You're saying, oh, I'm an independent woman. I got this. What? Acting like an independent woman, but then behind the scenes, you are in this revolving door of dysfunction, circling the drain. I don't know if I should leave him. Oh my God, he don't treat, boy, he apologized. So I love him. You want out of that, don't you? So beautiful, Sonny or Sunny. I understand. And this is why I do what I do. And I am not judging any woman who is in circling the drain, as I just said, because I was here between 2015 and 2017. I was the woman who was manipulated. I was dating a narcissist. There was a lot of projection and love bombing going on. It was a trauma bond between him and I. And I was in this cycle for 2 years. I was trying to tap dance for him, metaphorically, to prove that I loved him, to prove that I was a good woman. And I thought that, oh, if I just do these things that he wants me to do, cutting off friends, I had to give up my Michael Kors purses because an ex gave them to me for my birthday like 3 years before I dated him. And I did it because I thought that's what I had to do, because nobody sat us down and had a conversation with us about what makes a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy relationship. So we just think, because of how we grew up, what we saw, that, oh, relationships are hard, so this is how it is. I had a friend tell me that when she was in her emotionally abusive relationship, she did ask one of her pastor friends, like, she told her what was happening, and she finally was like, oh, I'm going to trust in her and tell her what's going on. And that woman said, well, is he beating you? Because we don't understand that abuse is way more than somebody hitting you. And abuse doesn't start with somebody hitting you. That's not where it starts. No man walks up to you and just hits you and then you start dating him. Nope. It starts the way my relationship started. And I got out in 2 years, but who knows where that would have gone. It might have turned physical, but I got out. So if you want that transformation that my clients had, if you want to go from being the woman who is like, I spend so much time, effort, and money pouring into men to get nothing in return. Nothing in return. And I'm always feeling empty, whether it be the same guy or the same type of relationship, the same type of man, but it's still dysfunctional. If you want to go from that woman where you are right now, that mindset, to a woman who is self-aware, to a woman who stops that cycle of dysfunction. Like my client said, I'm becoming self-aware. That's my biggest thing, because I just cannot believe all of the light bulbs and things that are making sense. And I'm like, why hasn't that made sense before Single You Academy? Because again, she's asking herself, like, why didn't this make sense? Because there was a disconnect for her. That's why it didn't make sense before Single You Academy, which is my online group coaching program. There was a disconnect between, I know this is wrong and he's treating me like crap and I don't want this. I know I should leave, but I don't. I'm here to break that cord, that tethering, that excuse that you make when you're like, but I love him. And so you stay. because relationships are hard. There's a difference between healthy hard versus abusive. There's a difference between healthy hard and toxic, but you don't know it. Not enough to break away from it. So let me invite you into Single You Academy. So again, like I said at the beginning, what do? I help single professional women in their 30s and 40s stop the cycle of dysfunctional relationships with men without the overwhelming feeling of feeling mean for saying no. Because let's talk about the vehicle that's going to take you from the woman who's in dysfunctional relationships all the time to the woman who is not. That vehicle could be Single You Academy. I think it should be, if this talk has resonated with you, because how else are you going to do it? Who else is in front of you right now offering a hand if you don't know where to start? Because you're like, well, I think I know my worth, but I let men treat me like crap. So do I actually know my worth? I don't really know who I am. I would love some help in that. I'm here to hold you accountable to the woman you say you want to be. Because here's what I know so far in my life after exiting that abusive relationship. And here's what I know so far. I turned it into Single You Academy. It is my 4 pillars to living a successful single life. This is what I know so far. The first thing you need to do is you need to know who you are. Outside of my favorite color is blue. Deeper than that, it's deeper than that. You need to know who you are, the why of who you are, your triggers, your anxieties. You need to know how to create a safe space for you. So that's number 1, know who you are. Number 2, know what you want and how to get it. Because again, as we were talking about, you know what you want. You don't want this dysfunction, this cycle you're in these relationships. You don't want that. You just don't know how to get what you want. You don't know how. Okay, so number 3, 2 behaviors you have to embody. 1 is having the audacity to believe that you can get what you want. So now that you know what you want and how to get it, you got to have the audacity. Listen, I can get this kind of relationship instead of thinking, well, all relationships are like this. This is all I know. This is all I've seen. All my friends are in this toxic dysfunction. My mom was, blah, blah, blah. So this is just relationships. No, it's not. No, it's not. You just think that because that's the energy and the environment you were surrounded by. There we go. All right. And the second behavior you have to have, which is the 4th pillar of living a successful single life, number 4, is the patience to wait for it. You don't have patience. That's why you settle. Because your thought process is, I can't be single because singleness is a failure. You have to get out of that mindset of thinking, because I'm single, I have failed in life. Because I'm 30 and single, I failed. Because I'm 42 and single, I failed. You have to get out of that mindset. Who told you that? Who told you that? So if you are ready to unlearn that, I had a client once tell me, she was like, yo, I hear know yourself, know your worth all the time. And that's like speaking Chinese to me. I don't know where to start. And I told her, start with me. Think about all the other things you have to go to school for that are not as important as learning who you are and stopping the cycle of dysfunctional relationships. It's the patience for me. Yeah, exactly. Think about all the things you have to go. You have to go get your driver's license. They make you jump through hoops for that. When you apply to a job, they make you jump through hoops for that. But ain't nobody sitting here in front of you wanting to help you, guide you through knowing who you are, knowing what you want, knowing how to get it, having the audacity to believe that you can get it, and the patience to wait for it. That's why I call it Single You Academy, because to me, it's a school. I would love to school you. Because what is the vehicle that's going to take you from always being in this cycle of dysfunction with men, feeling left empty, like I'm unworthy because I'm single? Singleness is a curse, is a punishment, to take you from that woman to knowing singleness is not a punishment. You are worthy regardless of your relationship status. You have the audacity to believe that you can get the kind of relationship you want, and you know who you are. You have discovered your worth so that you can stop tying your worth and identity to men. What is going to take you from here to here? Single You Academy is open. The application process is open. Send me a DM if you would like to join, if you would like more information on Single You Academy. Because I know the type of woman you want to be. And if you need help, I'm here. So the application process does end June 4th. Okay. So once you apply, you will be prompted to schedule our call, our discovery call. You and I will get on a call, and then you get to make the decision if we work together or not. No pressure. I know I can help you. You have to make the decision. So if you need the help, I'm here. Single You Academy. Again, I'm just going to repeat it one more time. And let me grab the link. I'm going to put it in the chat on Facebook, on Instagram. If you are interested in more information, go ahead. Because once I close the live video, then I won't be able to see your comment. So you're going to have to send me a DM. And thank you, Sunny. Hey, and this is why I do what I do, because of my story, girl. And when I got out of that relationship in 2017, I heard God say, I will use this story. And I was like, no, you're not. I'm not telling anybody what I went through. I'm smart. At least thought I was smart. But I had to overcome, and I had to forgive the woman I thought I was, because she didn't show up. I thought I was a strong, independent woman till that relationship. So I had to circle back and figure out, how do I become that girl? Because I didn't want to be bitter. I wanted to be healed so I could move forward with my life in forgiveness and light and love. And that's what I did. So that's why I created Single You Academy. So, all right, we will end it on this. If you are interested in Single You Academy, go ahead and send me a DM. I dropped the link to apply here on Facebook. If you would like the link to read all the information about Single You Academy, go ahead and send me a DM, okay? Okay, why that? Beautiful, Sonny, what do you mean, why that one? I'm just trying to understand your question, so. And so I'll wait. Okay, so again, what do I do as a single girls life coach? I help the single professional woman in their 30s and 40s stop the cycle of dysfunctional relationships. My clients are women who feel like they spend so much time, effort, money pouring into men, and you feel like you don't ever get the same type of love in return. And you're left wondering, what is it about myself that I keep attracting these types of relationships, and how do I solve that so I don't stay in this cycle of toxic and dysfunctional relationships? Those are my clients. So if you want to stop the cycle of dysfunctional relationships, go ahead on Instagram, send me a DM. I'll send you the link so you can read up on Single You Academy. If you're on Facebook, you can send me a DM. I dropped the link in the comments so you can read up on Single You Academy. The application process closes June 4th. So do not hesitate. Reach out to me if you need to, okay? All right. Bye.